What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Monday, November 3rd, and we're here to discuss yesterday's PK shootout win against the Charleston Battery for Rhode Island FC to advance to the Eastern Conference Semi-Finals. Just a reminder that each episode of Tide Talk is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and hit that thumbs up button as it helps YouTube show Tide Talk to more people. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcast. And if you're listening there, we'd really appreciate it if you left a 5-star rating and a short review as it helps more people find our podcast. One last plug, if you're not already using the RIFC Club Collector app, sign up and enter code TIDETALK25 to get an exclusive pack to add to your collection. So everybody, let's cozy up, let's crack a beer, and let's dive into this one. Who pre-cracked? That was unbelievable.
That was me. It was dumb. I thought it was needed.
Unbelievable.
Fail.
So everybody, I am Ryan, and I will be your host tonight. We got the bloggers on double duty on this one. So we joined by Mr. Matt Hands and Mr. Timmy Sclafani. Matt, how was your Monday?
Pretty good. Pretty chill. Got very amped up. Still amped up from yesterday. So, where my mind was at all day. Yeah, good day overall.
Awesome. And Timmy, how was your soccer game today?
My soccer game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really haven't come down since last night, and I drove to my indoor soccer game with cleats as my shoes to change into. So I got there and I just drove home. Couldn't play. Didn't bring the correct footwear. So
listen, the boys are delirious, and we got the chat's going though. We got Andrew Quadras in there. We got Tulsa Mario. What's up, Tulsa Mario? I'm sorry we didn't get that 5-3 or whatever you predicted, which would have been very fun. But 3-2. But yes, a lot to talk about in this one. And for those of you who I don't know, just woke up from being on a deserted island, Rhode Island FC did advance to the Eastern Conference Semi-Finals with a win over Charleston last night. So before we get into that one, and there's a lot of game to cover, so I'm just going to keep us moving along. I just want to check in on the weekend that we saw here. So pretty action-packed day one of the USL playoffs here. We saw the Riverhounds and Hartford go to PKs with the Riverhounds winning there. The big upset of the weekend was Detroit City beating Louisville 1-0. North Carolina taking down Loudoun 1-0. FC Tulsa, shout out to Tulsa Mario, with a 1-0 victory over the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. New Mexico United with a 2-0 over San Antonio. El Paso Phoenix beating El Paso 1-0. And then the final match of the weekend was Sacramento losing in PKs to Orange County. Again, another 2-seed down. So, boys, what do you guys think of the kind of first round of the playoffs before we jump into the RIFC match itself?
I mean, the one result that I'll add, and it's from a different league. I was a little disappointed that Portland won. Everyone knows I'm the resident Portland hater, so that bothered me that they won. But in USL Championship, I think obviously the Louisville result is the crazy one, and it almost overshadows, I think, what a big deal it actually is that we won our match. People will look back on the 2025 opening weekend, and ours will be more like a footnote. I think the Louisville result is going to be the big result coming out of that. And then obviously for the Rhode Island fans and maybe some others around the league, I think Hartford losing in the first round after the second half of season that they pulled together is probably going to be what a lot of us remember, and especially Siaha just looking like a total clown in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, not hard for him to do. But Hans, what do you think of week one or weekend one of the playoffs?
Yeah, it was crazy. Obviously, as we can see here, lots of close scores too. So we had all the upsets, but
yeah, I think I saw it was the lowest scoring round, opening round of the USL in the modern era.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
suits us.
It does suit us. Yeah, it definitely does suit us. I thought Phoenix and El Paso was going to be like a goal fest. They drew 3-3 and 4-4 in their two regular season games, but still a good game. But yeah, I mean, unpredictable. Who would have thought Detroit City would beat Louisville? It's crazy. I was mainly watching Hartford in Pittsburgh, but I did catch that, and it was like Detroit City got their goal on a corner, and then they just defended. It reminded me of when we played Louisville last year during the regular season at Louisville, the 5-2, where I think we were up 2-0 at halftime, and then second half, it was just constant. Like it felt like their center backs were on the edge of our box, like the whole half. It was wild. Yep. It felt like that for that game, but yeah, consider results.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun weekend. I mean, I had like doubles. I had multiple games going on my screen over here. It was a lot of fun. We were all, chatting throughout it. Obviously seeing Hartford lose was huge. Seeing Detroit with the upset was huge. But yeah, let's move along to the main event. And as you've alluded to, that is the Rhode Island FC versus Charleston match here. So leading up to the game, there was a ton of watch parties, ton of excitement. I think it's one of those ones. I know not everyone, I know, especially the Tide Talk crew has made fun of me as, we'll do the episode and we'll preview the next game, and I'll be kind of feeling the feels of whatever happened in the previous match. And then throughout the week, I will start building up the hope and the excitement. But boy, oh boy, it could not have been at more of a peak before this one. I think at 11 a.m., I was telling anyone who would listen to me that we are absolutely going to win this one. Maybe it wasn't in the convincing fashion that I was saying, but it really was all about the blasting that In the Air Tonight remix that the team posted over and over again. So, there were a lot of watch parties. We saw that the guild was packed, and shout out to anyone who went to the guild, especially those of you who donated. The link to the Defiance 1636 food donation, food drive is in the YouTube description for this episode. So please check that out. The Defiance has raised over $3,500 already for the charity. Obviously massive this month. So please check that out. If you can give anything, it's huge. And then shout out to people who gave the actual physical goods as well. It's going to go right to the Rhode Island Food Bank. So thank you all very much. And then, so the team was there, and then obviously the Tide Talk crew, not obviously to the people I'm talking to, the Tide Talk crew was over at the German American Club, which was a ton of fun. But yeah, Timmy, how'd you feel leading up to the match that day?
I mean, I feel like the whole week was like a large scale version of how, like you said, how you handle every game. It's like hype building right up until the moment that it starts. But I do feel like all week, pretty much, I was really nervous. Like, I think pretty much anyone wouldn't have had high hopes for Rhode Island in this game. Like, all the pundits were saying like we would have to play a perfect game, which I think was pretty much true. Mm-hmm. But there was something in the air on Sunday morning. Like everything was coming up vibes. Like, and just on a personal Tide Talk note, like I feel like until like hours before it was like maybe going to be you and Matt at one place for the watch party, and then like I think I filtered in, then Quadros Day opened up and he filtered in, and then Hans changed his plans to be there, like, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh, everyone's getting together, kids are coming, it's all coming up Tide. So I think the vibes were very high going into it, and then when the actual kickoff comes around, it's all nerves again. But great build up, great legendary build up day to the game, I think.
Yeah, Hans, how are you feeling that morning?
Yeah, I didn't get as excited as you two guys. I think like I tried not to let myself get that excited. I think it's just more of a function of like how the whole season went. I did feel like okay coming in, but it was hard for me even during the game too. It was hard for me to be excited even when we were playing well. I was trying to stay as even keeled as possible all the way till the end. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it on the last episode here, Matt and I know Matt, you wrote your blog and Timmy as well. But it was tough to predict this one, as Rhode Island FC can beat anyone on their day. It's obviously the playoffs, and the intensity is just turned up to an 11. So anything can happen, especially what we saw throughout the weekend, not just from the Rhode Island FC game, but it's also a team that just when you get excited about them, they had some bad losses, and just when you got kind of down on them, they would, all of a sudden come out with a great win. So a lot of it was really like which Rhode Island FC team was going to show up on the day. And we got our first glimpse of that with the lineup here. So there's a couple slides on this here. So this is the starting 11 as we saw it like from the team. So just to read it down the graphic here. So we got Koke Vegas, Hugo Bacharach, JJ Williams, Noah Fuson, Clay Holstead, Frank Nozarce, Jojea Quizera, Zachary Harabau, Karifa Yao, Hamani Diop, and Amos Shapiro Thompson. So every time this lineup comes out with like this graphic, it doesn't actually show you like what the formation would be. So we're all sitting there with our, pieces of paper or like trying to figure out what it looked like. And I think most of us would have thought, and I think we all were kind of in unison here, that it was something along the lines of a front like three or so of Noah Fuson, JJ Williams, and Amos Shapiro-Thompson. You had Haribow and Holstead in the midfield, Quizera and Frank Nadarce on the wings, and then a back three of Giap, Yao, Baccarat with Vegas and net. That's what I thought was happening. But then we got some boots on the ground. So Tide Talk debutante, Tyler Hatch, who wrote a great blog. He's going to do a monthly series where he brings up different statistics that are kind of interesting and are telling a story, or maybe not telling the story we would expect about the season. So go check that out on the Tide Talk site. But he kind of chimed in and shot us all a note and was like, hey guys, in the warmups, it's actually Hugo is in midfield, and it's actually Clay who's more up top with Amos on the right. As we saw what happened at kickoff, it actually was a front three or so of Noah Fuson, JJ Williams, and Clay Holstad. You had a midfield two of Zachary Haribow and Hugo Baccarat, and Amos Shapiro-Thompson on that right wing back. So already a pretty massive call from Kano here to make a tweak that we really hadn't seen so far this year. But Hans, what were you thinking when you kind of saw this and we really put it all together of what was happening on the field? Hans, you might be muted.
I am muted. What the heck?
I will remind you this is an audio podcast, so.
That is true. Yeah, my bad. No, I was saying it was interesting seeing Clay playing further forward, something we haven't really seen him do all year. Interesting time to kind of change things up. As we know, it obviously worked. Yeah, I mean, that was my main thing. I mean, the rest of the players we pretty much expected. Other than Stoneman not being in and Zach being in for Stoneman, which I think Zach had a good game. Not sure where Grant was. I don't think he was on the availability report, and he wasn't in the 18. So unsure what's going on there. But we know Kano loves his leadership. So it's interesting not seeing him not there. But, yeah, I mean, the rest of it, I think overall pretty much made sense. And, Kano's about his somewhat, positionless, guys can play all over the place. It's more about where you end up on the field rather than where you line up at the beginning. So, yeah, I think overall it made sense.
Awesome. Timmy, what did you make of this kind of formation tweak?
I mean, a couple things made me nervous about it, to be honest. I think no Stoneman was a surprise, and seeing Frank slot in as a center back when he's mostly been playing at right wing back since he came back from injury. I think he came back in September, so not a huge amount of game time and mostly playing at right wing back. And then I think the two other kind of interesting calls. One is if you switched Clay and Amos, so Amos was playing as like the more forward player and Clay was the right wing back. We saw that look a lot this year, but we haven't seen it reversed. Mm-hmm. And then I thought bringing Quizera back in for Sanchez as on the left wing back and not using him as a forward like we did, I think a couple of times in the last few games was interesting. I kind of like Sanchez starting there because it gives a little more like versatility with the subs. You can go to the back four, which I was feeling like we might need to do in this game. These were my thoughts upon seeing the lineup. I was already a bundle of nerves. Some of the changes made me more nervous, but that is why Kano is the coach, and I'm just a guy who likes to watch the games.
And don't forget blogger, most important. So before we get into how it worked, I mean, Hans, any thinking of why he made this change?
I don't know. maybe for the press, like Clay's ability to press, but playing him further up high. And I think Zach, and I think there's something you mentioned to us, like in our like Tide Talk chat, but having Zach start too, even though it seems like it was a choice over Stoneman, didn't seem like it was an availability issue. So having like Zach start and try to get on, Malloy, who really kind of everything goes through him. They've got a good midfield of Husu is more like the more physical, like box to box guy, but Malloy helps, move things along with the ball. So I'm thinking that maybe it had something to do with that,
Absolutely, yeah. And to your point, one thing, I think we've done a really good job against Charleston because they're a team that I think there's a really clear game plan on how you can live with them and how you can beat them. A lot of it's really cut off service to Aaron Malloy and then try to really just cut off. Basically, he feeds the front two, and then they kind of do all the work after that. So if you can really cut off that service for Malloy and make it hard for him, I think that really is how you can beat Charleston. Obviously, that's a really tall task. He's one of the best players in the league. Easier said than done, and I think Charleston's record speaks for itself. But to me, when I saw especially Clay up there, I was like, okay, him and Harivao are going to potentially pass off and really try to take Malloy out of the game. I actually don't know if that really happened or worked well, but we'll get into the half here. So to me, not a lot of highlights from this half. It was extremely back and forth, like a lot more than I thought. Both teams are going long, way more than I thought, which I thought was a really interesting bit of it. But yeah, Timmy, what'd you make of the first half?
Yeah, not a whole lot of chances going either way. I was really impressed with how hard we were playing, like out of possession when Charleston had the ball. And I was thinking about a couple of Ryan-isms when I was thinking about how we played in the first half. One of them was hunting in packs, like the press, which I still can't always figure out what the trigger they're actually using.
I have no idea about yesterday. I'll be very clear.
It seems crazy random, but I did think at least the players were very coordinated. Like when Noah would run up and press, some combination of Harivao and Hugo and oftentimes Quizera as well would push up behind him for like secondary pressure and block off kind of the easy passes. I thought the press was really coordinated in the first half when they chose to do it. And then
which is funny because Kano doesn't agree with you.
Did he say that in the post?
Yeah, at halftime there was a interview, and I guess he said to the person on the sidelines that he actually thought we needed to be more compact, and we actually needed to be more purposeful with our press, which I thought was funny.
Once again, that is why he's the coach. I thought it looked really good, and I was thinking about a clip. It was probably from one of the Hartford games, probably the Hartford away game, when you're saying how easy it was to play against us. And I was watching back the first half and I was like, we made it so difficult to play against us last night. Just there was nothing easy for Charleston. So even if we didn't have a ton of the ball, I thought we were a lot better building up than we actually were in the final third. But I just thought made it incredibly difficult for them off the ball and was in a way that I haven't seen all season. So I was happy with the performance.
What about you, Hans?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Timmy said, but I think that I think the game was too open. Like I kind of agreed with Kano. At times, it wasn't like it was open the whole half, but I thought that we kind of it was a little bit too back and forth. Maybe that's to do with, like you were saying, going long a lot of the time to try to create chances. But like we've played, as you were saying earlier, like we do play Charleston well. Like it's been, other than the first game we played them this season, every game's been close. And like I think it was 2 draws regular season last year, I believe, and then the 2-1 win. And then we won. We beat them at Tidewater this year. So like close games and more like defensive games. And so I was thinking coming into this one, we would need to be defensive and kind of lock them down. And I thought that we kind of did that, but I do think it was a little bit too open, and we kind of need to close things up a little bit more for the second half.
Totally agree. And, just for highlights here, we did have a big Karifi block in the 45th minute. Charleston also had a pretty big chance going into halftime. But other than that, it was a pretty, 50-50 game. I mean, some would probably say that Charleston might have had a bit of the edge. And looking at these halftime stats, it was 58% possession to 42 for Charleston, 6 shots for Charleston to R2, 0 big chances for either team, 77% passing accuracy for Charleston, for 71% us, 5 fouls for Charleston with 10 for Rhode Island FC, and 1 corner to R0. So again, a half where no one really, 0 big chances. No one really kind of took it to the other team. But I thought, it wasn't our best half, but we hung around, and you could see that there were kind of clear avenues that we could potentially fix. And I think the team did a really good job moving into the second half here. So the second half. So it starts off quick. Unfortunately, it does start with a Koke save here, which we will play.
We talked about the last 10 games of Rhode Island's right. We'll come back to that in a moment. Cal Jennings is onside here. 1-on-1 for the battery, and Jennings. Oh, it's saved. Vegas. makes a miraculous save for Rhode Island.
He brings it further away from his body. Really good closure of space for the back line of Rhode Island, and textbook goalkeeping.
So I like genuinely cannot believe that Cal Jennings missed that shot, but fantastic save by Koke. Honestly, really surprising. Our defense has been so stout all year, and for that lapse in the offside trap to allow Cal Jennings just to stroll in by himself, I thought was pretty surprising. But Hans, any warning signs start flashing for you at this point?
Yeah. So I was kind of saying I thought Charleston got some chances in there, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned. I think it's all blur at this point. But I know Ruben had a chance late, which I'm sure we'll get to, and like they were getting through. I thought we kind of had some good last ditch defending, and I thought Koke made some vital saves there. So I was starting to get. I was a little bit concerned at that point.
Yeah, Timmy, what about you?
I was concerned the entire time, so I wouldn't say I got concerned.
It's kind of your natural state, so
incredibly anxious. But no, I mean that was a great save. Really bothers me the way that Frank was jogging back for the first 3 or 4 seconds of that, and then he realizes it's not offside, and you see him put his head down and start actually running. Yes, I got more nervous at that point. I think Jennings gets in behind the defense again within the next 10 minutes. But between those two chances, though, it started pouring rain, and I actually feel like that slowed down Charleston's momentum a little bit because the game got really sloppy right around that point on a field that was already a complete mess from kickoff.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but yes, I think shout out to Sarah for the comment of the episode so far. The force was not strong there with the Padawan. So shout out to Sarah, and if you are with us in the chat or watching afterwards, please smash that like button. We would really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Please subscribe. But yeah, I think Ewan makes a really good point, and we didn't talk about this with the lineups, but obviously Rhode Island had some changes that they had to make, but Charleston, they had two kind of big missing pieces. One was Ikaza, who normally is in their midfield, was not available. And the other one is Juan David Torres, who absolutely destroyed us in that first match. He was having an unbelievable campaign. Got a red card a month or so ago, and just has not appeared anywhere. He's not an injury report. You just can't find anything about him. So kind of a really strange situation. I think I saw in the Charleston Battery subreddit that he's off training somewhere else. There's just videos he's posting online or something like that. So very odd situation. If anyone that's listening has any clue what's happening with Juan David Torres, I'm just personally confused and would love to know more. But huge, I think to Ewan's point, I think that was a big missing piece for Charleston on the night.
Yeah, he scored too, I think, in the playoffs against us last year. So he's a huge thorn in our side. So good to not see him out there, but yeah, just as confused as you are. And it's it's that way with this league, though. A lot of these teams don't even have the availability report like we do. So it's hard to even know from the outside anyway what's going on. Players who randomly just not be there. You don't really know if it's an injury or, there's some issue or he's off, apparently off training somewhere else. It's hard.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And Matching to your question, do I get Chick-fil-A if I subscribe to Tide Talk? We are not affiliated with Big Chicken. We never would be. How dare you? But to Timmy's point, the game kind of gets a little bit slowed down by the rain. The pitch was a little sloppy, and I think around the 65th minute, RIFC start to gain control. And I think the big switch that I noticed was Noah and Clay were dropping much deeper and really packing the midfield. And I thought this seemed like it was a concerted effort to reduce the space, pack the midfield, and which kind of helped in twofold. One was to cut off the passing lanes for Charleston. But two, our passing was much crisper. We stopped going long as much and started really being able to string passes together through the midfield, which I think really broke Charleston apart. The only downside, I think JJ was on an island a lot by himself in this one, but at the same time, we were creating a lot more kind of fluid chances, with this change. But Timmy, how do you think Rhode Island kind of got a foothold in this one?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just on the rain, the Charleston fans should be disgusted with themselves. They don't deserve to have a team as good as the Charleston Battery. Even when it's not raining, I think that's a pathetic fan base. They don't fill out the stadium. The stadium sucks. It's the best possible team playing under the most amateur circumstances, in my opinion. It's they should be ashamed of themselves. They don't deserve the team to be that good. The way that those fans filtered out at the 60th minute when it started raining, unbelievable to me. But the question was, how did Rhode Island?
If
get
you're a
foothold
Charleston
in the
Battery
game?
fan who's getting this clip sent to them, please like and subscribe.
And you can probably find my address on LinkedIn. Yeah, you called out. I thought a couple of like the big changes. The thing that stood out to me as well was like, yeah, for about 20 minutes until some of the subs around the 80th minute, like Clay is just like freelance, like just totally freelancing. He's popping up wide left. He's popping up next to the center backs. I don't know if that was instructional or if Clay just decided I'm taking the game over, but and with varying levels of effectiveness, to be honest, in my opinion. Like it wasn't like a grab the game by the reins performance, but he definitely was kind of like, I'm going to be everywhere. I thought that it helped us. It's kind of an interesting thing because like we already can't really attack up the right side. It's just been a problem all year. And then once he started doing this, I felt like we had like an overload on the left. So it wasn't even a question anymore. It's like just everything's going to move up the left.
Yeah, poor Amos was fighting for his life out there.
I mean, he was there for if Charleston got a counterattack and went down that side. He really didn't serve much of a function offensively in this game, which turned out fine. But yeah, and then you called out the other big piece I thought, which is we were playing a lot more direct than I feel like we have like all season, building up much more through the midfield, a lot less long balls. Like I think FOTMob has JJ 0 out of 1 on aerial duels, which would imply that we didn't go long to him that much. That number's definitely wrong. But we did go long to him a lot less. I thought Hugo and Zach were doing a lot of heavy lifting, progressing the ball, passing triangles with the wing backs and the two right and left side forward, dropping deeper, like you said. So you summarized it a lot more succinctly than I did, but totally agree.
Hans, what do you think led to kind of Rhode Island FC seeming to be the kind of team on top after that 65th minute?
Yeah, I think you guys are right. Shout out Hugo. I think Hugo looked really good in the
I would
midfield.
say we're going kind of quick through this part because there's a lot, like kind of the meat of this episode is about to come up, and boy oh boy are we going to talk our pal Hugo.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it, I guess, but I'll just say for now, he was awesome playing through the middle. Huge difference maker. Yeah, right. Maybe the fans leaving at minute 65, like Chris is saying here, is what helped us out too. Maybe dampened the mood of the Charleston players, but did not even intend to do a pun there, Timmy.
I loved it.
Great one.
But no, yeah, I think that's probably it. And pretty much what you guys said. You guys are smart. You can do this. So do this without me.
Okay. All right. Well, in the 80th minute, we then get Rhode Island FC's first subs for the match. So we have Chico and Busy on for Amos and Haraval. Noah then moves to right wing back, and Clay moves to a deeper midfield. I think at this point, it's really interesting to me that you call out the right side because I think all of a sudden the right side comes alive a bit. And especially Hugo and Noah start combining really well and start to create some chances. So here's the first one that comes literally right after that sub in the 81st minute here.
Two of which my heart favors.
I know.
December 1st, then we'll talk. Good ball there.
Fuson, he flashed it across. Jojea Quizera, saved by Zamudio.
I love the quick decision here by Noah Fuson. One of the changes that you'll see is he'll move out to this right wing back.
So this is where I start to kind of be like, wait a minute, like we might really be coming alive. We start to get some, balls in the balls into the box. We get kind of Noah just free and get a touch there. Then from there, we do get a sub in the 80th minute, Ibarra for Clay. I have to say, Clay looked absolutely gassed, and why wouldn't he be? He was all over the place. He took a couple kind of big hits, big knocks. So hopefully Clay's okay. But I would say from here on out, it is kind of a sprint to the finish of this game. First up, we have in the 92nd minute, we have a JJ chance here.
No, Darce. Fuson. Lovely touch by Bacharach. Bacharach stands it up for Williams. Oh, it's off the bar. And then it's given away by Zamudio, and it's in. But no, it's not going to count. It's a yellow card.
The way that he drops his shoulder, sustaining pressure, and slicing right back through it, right there. What a touch that is. Drags the whole back line with him. A bit of contact centrally, and a recovery by J.J. Williams. That ball's not over. Watch the far side. Can't do that.
So pretty wild sequence there. I don't know how JJ did not score there. You would tip anyone in this league. If anyone in this league, JJ to put that in the back of the net. And notably, Jose Quezera does get his first yellow card there. But, to me, two sequences there where we see a great combination from Noah and Hugo, one putting each other in there. So, what do you think about that right side coming alive? And, did you believe that Rhode Island FC were going to put this away in full time?
I did think we were going to put it away in full time. I'm in disbelief at Hugo. Like, he is such a good player, and I was thinking about this sequence in particular. Like that's a guy who, for the first 2 months of being in the team, was playing as a center back, and he's on the touchline putting in a cross that almost won us the game in the 90th minute. Like, anyone who thinks he's a defensive midfielder is just hasn't been watching for the last month or so, and definitely didn't watch that game. Yeah, no.
Some interesting chat in the chat here. Do you think that should have been a yellow on Quezera?
So I was looking this up because I didn't know the rule specifically. But if the goalie has it in his possession, so because it was in his hands and he was kicking it from there, you can't interfere. So yes, it was. It doesn't have to be a yellow, but it can be a yellow, and it was. And this guy's got beef with Quezera, as we find out later. So.
Yeah.
So we gave him a yellow.
What do you think, Hans?
Yeah, I don't know. See, saying it's not a yellow, but yeah, I think that's correct. I'm trying to remember what our resident referee guy, Joe Burns, said. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can go ahead, Timmy. It's not. Yeah,
he's right. Or from when I looked it up on ChatGPT like an hour ago. Yeah, it's their decision, but like he's saying, this guy hates us and he hates Quezera, so he chose to do it.
I'll be very honest. I was not like, it was fine for me. It's fine as a yellow. Like, it's kind of a wild thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Regardless of whatever the rule is, I do think like it would logically to me make sense if you're going to get in front of the goalie and like deliberately try to, if that's what he was saying, like he was deliberately trying to stop him from like not like a restart, I guess, because it wasn't a restart, but getting the ball downfield. I get it as to why that could potentially be a yellow.
Yeah. So speaking of this, we'll stop burying the lead. So next up, we do have the double red card incident here.
Yeah.
So this is I will just warn everyone, this is like a 4-minute long video. We'll see what happens with this, but we'll see.
The step in defensively on the far side by Usu Landry. And then Segber shoves down Atkinson and gets yellow carded. Tempers fray again. Atkinson pushes out on Landry. It boils over here right at the end. And Elton Garcia wants a good look at this. Landry and Quezera now get into it. Segber's has already been booked. And we wait for the dust to settle here.
Good hold-up play again from Hugo Bacharach, who's really come into his own last 10 minutes, playing in a more advanced position.
All So we'll move past the replays of it, but really odd scenario. So you have a fall in the touch line. Busy and Quezera kind of just there. Quezera keeps kind of chipping at the guy, but nothing crazy. Segbers comes in unbelievably hot and just smokes Busy, which I thought that was like not fair to Busy because he wasn't really doing anything. That was just kind of like pick on the smallest guy. Some pushing and shoving. I think Busy very correctly just walks away, which I'm proud of him for doing that. I still kind of can't exactly tell what the initial red card for Landry was. There's a moment where he like pushes Busy towards his neck, but there's also another point where he grabs Quezera towards the neck. I think it was the Quezera one that really got him. But at the same time, I have absolutely no idea. There's obviously zero communication around what happened. And then we see Jojea Quezera issued again, very unclear. I think he was second yellow because the guy kept saying 2 at him. But then on the broadcast, Devin Kerr, enemy of the state, said that it was a red card, like a straight red. So very unclear there. Clean it up, Devin. But yeah, very odd situation. Quezera was heated. Like I've never seen someone. Have to give a huge shout out to Chico. Chico is really trying his absolute best to get Quezera to calm down and really helped him out. And then you see Koke come in to try to get him to the locker room there. But, Kano's losing his mind. The whole team's kind of really frustrated at this point. So with all that being said, Matt Hands, what the fuck were those red cards for?
Yeah. So, well, first I'll say, I think Segbers, maybe it's a little too extreme. I think that should have been a red. Like, they talk about violent conduct, and I guess there's certain things that rise to that level, I'm sure, in the rule books, but in guidelines, but like came out of nowhere, shoved the guy to the ground. So I don't know. Land or Husu, whatever. I think for them, Husu was I think it was definitely grabbing at the neck. I don't know if it was. I assumed it was for the Atkinson one, but you're right. It could have been a combination of both. And then Quezera, like I don't know. I see RA.
So we have RA in the chat. Yeah, he said the official recording was argument/dissent for the second yellow. So it seems as though Jojea got that yellow with his mouth and not with his actions there.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. He was grabbing other players, but it wasn't. I don't think anything like egregious. I wouldn't think everyone was kind of grabbing each other in there. I didn't see anything from him. That would have been like a violent conduct type thing or anything like to rise to a yellow. So it makes sense that it was probably, him saying something. And then of course he lost his mind after that. Saying Husu was violent conduct that was definitely, I know they said that on the broadcast that had to be that. So wild end to the 90 there.
Yes, and crazy. Shout out to RA Raising Anchor for the stats in the chat or the info in the chat. If you are an RIFC fan who's kind of getting into this with this playoff run, please subscribe to Tide Talk, but also go check out Raising Anchor. A lot of great info, a lot of great shows over on that way as well. So as you're saying, Hands, like pretty crazy way to end the match. Has Kano has to all of a sudden like rethink everything going into extra time there. And then we do see some changes there, but I will go to the full-time stats before that. I broke all these down by half for the record. We'll get in the full-time ones at full time. But for the second half, like I said, I think it was a pretty marked change in the flow of the game. You had RIFC actually beat out Charleston on possession 53-47. Shots were even at 4 apiece, with Rhode Island FC having the only big chance of the second half. You saw RIFC's passing accuracy shoot up from 71% in the first half to 84% in the second, which was pretty crazy. 82% passing accuracy from the battery, 7 fouls apiece, and the battery had 4 corners to R1. So to me, again, do these stats match your eye test for the match? And how are you feeling going into extra time?
These do match, I think, how I felt watching the second half in real time. If anything, I thought the first half stats were a little were a little charitable to Charleston. Like I felt like both halves were relatively even. Nonetheless, felt terrible heading into extra time. Just on the road at Charleston, with going another 30 minutes, that's going to make me nervous. But I do think, and they observed it on the broadcast as well, like positionally, that the red card to Quezera, we had a like for like substitution in Sanchez, and it didn't really end up affecting our shape, particularly huge amount. Like we were kind of able to account for that and keep the same number of guys behind the ball and kind of hold our shape and still attack pretty well. So even though I wasn't processing it in real time heading into extra time, I think that trade-off kind of suited us actually when it went to 10v10 heading into the extra time.
Great call. I have a certain someone in mind where I think it really suited. But Hans, what about you? How are your feelings on that second half and moving into extra time?
Yeah, I think the numbers kind of you're showing here kind of reflect how I felt about. Like I thought we were the better team in the second half, not by a lot, but kind of thought progressively as it went on, we looked more likely to score. But I think overall that over the 90 minutes, it was pretty even. When you taking into account, I think Charleston was slightly better in the first half and we were slightly better in the second half. So it kind of like evened out. And yeah, definitely nervous going into the 2 extra time halves there. So yeah,
absolutely. And it was a game. It was interesting. It was obviously 0-0, not a lot of big chances, but I actually thought it was a really like kind of back and forth, like really action-packed game. So, always have to get ahead of those, haters who say, of course, no one scores. But, as we move into the first extra time, and again, if you are watching, please smash that like button. But the first extra time, we get Busy to come in, Aldair to come in for Busy. Felt really bad for Busy. He only gets really 10 minutes in this one. You actually did see before, the half started, the extra time started, Kano kind of gives him like a big hug and is like, shoot, man, like that sucks that this had to happen. So, sucks for Busy. Second game in a row, we've had to see him kind of make a sub in and sub out. But Aldair, I think, comes in and really balances that formation. And I can't remember who said it, whether Timmy or Matt. I think the 10v10 really did suit a particular person, and he is a giant Spanish midfielder named Hugo Bacharach, because this becomes the Hugo show for a little bit with these 2 clips here.
These 4 players have run themselves into the ground, but Mother Nature has been kind in the latter portions of this game.
Just another day in the USL Championship playoffs. Chance here for Rhode Island. Swiveling past a couple of challenges. Ibarra's ball in. It's cleared away by Archer, not definitively cleared yet. Sanchez, Hugo Bacharach sees his volley soar off to.
So some unreal sequences involving Hugo there. There's a lot of points where he's just in like massive acres of space in the midfield, just kind of standing there by himself. But you really kind of see him able to use his legs, able to use his mobility in that midfield to create some chances. I thought, 2 people, especially in that first sequence, who I thought had really good appearances. One was Mark Ibarra. Was like a little more advanced than normal, and I think he created a lot of opportunities in the extra time. And Chico, was really busy in this one. He had a lot. I think he had more touches than JJ, and even just a short cameo. I thought he really got around well. I think he made it absolute. He was a kind of a pest in a lot of ways, and he did get a couple, maybe half chances or even less than half chances to score. But to me, what did you make of the Hugo situation, especially in extra time, and then maybe even those 2 subs there?
Yeah, I mean, thank God you checked with the German club ahead of time that you could pop the top if you needed to, because if that Hugo shot went in, that shirt would have been in another galaxy. You would have just chucked it out of the building.
The real problem was I wore layers, which would have really complicated things, but I would have made it happen because Hugo would have deserved that.
Agree. I'm confused by you saying you weren't doing cornholio at full time, but after the PKs. But
we'll evidence. It wasn't me.
Okay. I might need to Zapruder film that, but okay.
Hans, what about you? What do you think? I'm cutting Timmy off.
Oh man, wait, what was your question? Sorry.
What'd you make of Hugo? I know you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, Hugo. That's what I thought. Yeah, Hugo was awesome, man. Like he was awesome. He's we all know I'm a huge fan of Frank. Frank to me was like my guy in 2024. I still love Frank, but Hugo's my guy. You're
denouncing your Frankdom? What's happening?
No, I still love Frank, but Hugo's the man. But yeah, I thought, him shooting from outside the box. He did say after that, to me, yeah, he did taught him everything. Pal taught him everything he knows now.
Continue.
This is in reference to Hugo was in Villarreal's academy. Pau Torres, who's a center back, now at Aston Villa, was there. He's a few years older than Hugo, I believe. They're there at the same time. And I'm pretty sure I asked Hugo about this in Westchester when he was chilling, when he was injured. Anyway, I digress. Hugo did say after the Vegas game that ended up, of course, being a forfeit, which was BS. So his goal didn't count, but he did say that, like, yeah, I'm going to try to, if I get in that position again, I'm going to try to shoot because, I did it. I got a goal, even though it didn't, at the end didn't count. And yeah, he did that. So I wasn't surprised. And then also, as you called him, Ryan, enemy of the state, Devin Kerr, he did shout out.
I just sort of clarify. There was a couple things he said in the first half, as well as some other stuff that I did not take kindly to. And I looked at my notes from the game, and my only note from the first half was Devin Kerr is an enemy of the state.
Well, he was on Twitter doing a very, very talented guy on Twitter and broadcasting at the same time. But he shouted out Hugo on the broadcast and actually on Twitter again today about, he thought he was the best player for us. For the best player, not just for us, for the whole game, for both teams. So, love Hugo. Looks awesome in the midfield. Love playing him there. Long may it continue. Please never leave Rhode Island. That's it.
Yeah, that'll be a discussion for a later time. So the first extra time, we do see basically, again, a 50-50 battle, 49% possession for the Battery versus us, 51. We did see Rhode Island edge on shots 5-2, 0 big chances for either team. Rhode Island FC with 92% passing accuracy versus 83 for the Battery, and they had 2 fouls to R1. So again, I think really that first extra time was Rhode Island's. But as we move into the second extra time, I think the tides turned, as you will, a little bit. I think Charleston were the better of the two teams. I think you saw some tired legs out there for Rhode Island. But we kind of see a flurry right at the end of this one. So Kano makes a sub in the 119th minute. He brings on Ame and Maxi for Frank and Karifa, with penalties in mind. So I didn't kind of process this in real time, but this really created a wild formation. We had basically a backline of Noah, Mabika, Giap, and Sanchez for like that minute and a half. And it was one of those things where, like, in the moment, I was like, yeah, cool, that's no big deal. And it's like, wait a minute, we still had to play another like minute. There isn't really anything Kano could have done if you wanted to get those players on the pitch, but it was really wild. And it does lead to these kind of 2 chances where Koke comes up huge to, to keep it level here.
Archer continued his run. The cross into the middle, Fuson's clearance. Played back across, the shot is blocked. It was Rodriguez trying to go. Malloy! Oh, what a save by Vegas! Charleston throw on the near side. Into stoppage time here. Joey Apanonu skies it.
I have to say, huge shout out to Joey Apanonu for just letting us off the hook there with that rocket from like 30 yards out. But what an absolute hit by Aaron Malloy, and what a save by Koke Vegas to keep it level and move us into penalty shootout here. So to bring up the second half of extra time stats, so 52% possession to 48. Charleston, 3 shots to R1, 0 big chances, about 80% passing accuracy for both teams. So again, Ryan FC, I think you would have said won the first half of extra time. I think Charleston would have won the second half here. But as we move in to the penalty shootout here, how are you guys feeling about penalties?
Bad.
How could anybody be feeling good about penalties with our penalty record? Anyone who says they were feeling good about it, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone. Number one, you probably should never feel good about penalties. Like, even if your team is technically good at them, they're still kind of a crapshoot. But boy, oh boy, have we not been good at them this year besides one player. So yeah, I can't imagine anyone feeling good. But we see the order here. So it's JJ Williams goes first. We then get Hamidi Giap. We get Max Rodriguez third, Hugo Bacharach fourth, and Ame Mabika fifth. I think this is a fascinating lineup of players. You have 3 people who you would potentially call. I mean, Hugo's kind of, who knows at this point. He's just a soccer player. We have 3 people who might be recognized as center backs who have played a lot of center back this season. I also thought it was interesting. 4 of 5 players who are new to Rhode Island FC this season, and 2 of them who signed literally mid-season. So I thought some interesting wrinkles there. But I will, play the final video of the episode here with May Mabika.
Can the big center half take Rhode Island through? Mabika to win it. He has won it. Ame Mabika wins the shootout for Rhode Island. And for a second year running, Rhode Island conquered Charleston in their own backyard. And they book a one-way ticket to Cary, North Carolina for the Eastern Conference Semi-Finals.
Shout out to my guy Chico again. I love that he's just going to keep doing the Cornholio thing, and I'm going to keep doing it with him. Timmy, it was not me at the German club. I was so disappointed that someone did it and I didn't do it. I will make sure that it happens next time. But shout out Chico, great appearance and just great using the Cornholio bit. Again, we even saw him like trying to get other people and trying to pull their jerseys up to do it with them. Absolutely love it. But yeah, how did you feel about the way the penalty shootout shook out? And with Mabika, I've seen some people kind of not loving his actual PK. Listen, any PK that goes in is a good PK to me. But Hans, please take it away while I try to fix whatever I got going on over here.
Yeah, I think first credit to all the guys for bearing them. I think coming into penalties, I thought we were going to lose. Hell, I can say it now. During extra time, the longer it went, we weren't scoring. I was like, we're going to have a good performance and then just lose on penalties. So, yeah, credit to all the guys. But then I made, at the end, really composed, I thought. It looked to me like he kind of slowed down intentionally to see where the goalie was going. Zamudio kind of takes a half step to his left, and then, Mabika puts it to Zamudio's right into the corner. Maybe could have hit it a little bit harder, but it's pretty much just a pass into the corner with Zamudio kind of off balance, leading the other way. I don't think he was going to recover to get to that anyway, even if he did dive. So, great penalty. And, he did take them in college, apparently, which I remembered from when we first signed Mabika. I looked at his other stats elsewhere and going back to when he was at Kentucky. And he did have some penalty goals, so I don't know what that's about. I don't know if he was always a penalty taker or if he just took some or whatever. But he obviously was confident in it. And, you have to think that Kano the team really worked on these coming into the playoffs, knowing that, especially for this game, knowing it would be likely a really close game that could go to PKs. And, went with the players who were confident, even if they are defenders in, Diop and Hugo and Mabika, but they all look great, and of course JJ Maxey as well. So, awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Timmy?
Yeah, not a ton to add. I mean, I was very scared with some of the players we put up there, and they completely proved me wrong. On the goalkeeper side of it, I guess. First of all, the only worst performance performance almost as bad as Siaha's this weekend. The Charleston keeper, the only one he guessed right on and went the right direction was JJ. He went the wrong way or not at all on the next 4.
Well, it was the nice thing about putting a bunch of center backs in there is probably not a lot of tape.
Well, that's what I was just thinking as Matt Hans was talking. I was like, they probably had literally nothing because, and we were saying this too. Just about everyone else on the field for us has missed the penalty. Deequa's missed one. Alder's missed one. Ibarra's missed one. So, and Noah. Yeah. So it does make sense why they went that direction. But then on the other side of things, Koke didn't make a save, but he on the second one, he gets a hand to it. Had a really good chance at saving that one. Third one gets sailed over the bar, and then I think Koke. And then Koke only faces one more, and he guessed the right way. He very nearly had.
I thought he was going to have that one.
There's a bad bounce on one of those too, which almost looked like he hit like a
it's the
divot
one,
in that
it's
like
the one he
terrible
gets his
field.
hand on. It's the one he gets his hand on, takes, which that's a whole nother element to that penalty kick. Was again, that field was just a disaster, and by that point,
it looked like they couldn't get a spot when they're like
total
when
mess,
JJ stepped up. It was like he was trying to figure out where to put the ball down, and then on JJ, you said to me, guess right on that one. But if it's one person that guess right against, probably JJ would be good for us with how hard he hits the penalty.
Yeah.
So
true. Yeah, it was nice to see Arturo Rodriguez sail it over the net this time and not JJ.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So as we look into the full-time stats here, it was obviously 0-0 at full-time and 3-5 in penalty kicks. We did win an XG, which I know is what everyone cared about today, at 1.12 XG to 0.84. Holding this Charleston team under 1 is fascinating, and we will get more to that. Possession was almost 50-50 here with 52% to Charleston, 15 shots to our 12. We had one big chance to their 0. Passing accuracy, they were at 80% to our 81. They had 15 fouls. We had 19. They had 6 corners to our 1. And this kind of crazy stat I saw, but the percent of passes that they had in the final third, only 17% of their accurate passes were in the final third. We had 28%. I also saw, I think there was like 60-something% of their passes were in their own half, which is pretty crazy. We were much more at the 50-50 line here, but I did have man of the match. It was a bunch of people were basically tied on FOTMob. I picked Giap. We'll talk more about him and a couple players here in the slides coming up, but he had an 8.0 FOTMob rating. He had 1 chance created, 8 defensive actions. More to come to talk about Giap and what we saw. But, full-time, I think Rhode Island FC were the better team. And I think, I was screaming ball don't lie at the end of this, especially with the what I felt was an unfair red card to Jojea Quizera. But boys, we did it. We did it. Hands. How do you think this happened? Like how did Rhode Island FC take down the number 2 seed Charleston Battery again?
Yeah. It's hard to even, it's like surreal almost still. Like wild. But I think, I think we just match up well against them. And Ben Pierman, their coach, said that too. I read an article from some I don't remember the publication, but some local publication from Charleston or from South Carolina. And he was basically saying that he knew it would be a tough matchup. We're not a typical like 7 seed. We're a really physical team. He did go out of his way to say he wasn't calling us dirty. It's legal, but that we're like probably one of the more physical teams in the league. So I think we just match up. We match up well against them, and it's really you got to take your chances. And neither team did, but I think that's basically what it is. And I've been saying it, but it's the defense. We got so much talent defensively. When you look at Diop here, as you have his man of the match, Yao is one of the better defenders in the league. I think, as your stereotypical like physical enforcer type defender. You got a bunch of versatile guys. Frank's versatile. I mean, he goes in midfield, but you can kind of almost count him defensively as well. Stoneman's good for his leadership out there. I know he didn't play in this game, but I think we just have a lot of defensive talent, and we know how to set up defensively, being one of the better defensive teams in the league this year. And so, I think that's pretty much what led to this, and it's what we're going to kind of have to ride through the rest of the playoffs.
Well said, Timmy. How about you?
The 2 things that I will just add to that, I spoke to it earlier. I think we were incredibly difficult to play against and play through. I think we harassed the crap out of them in their half of the field. Constant pressure, constantly one guy pressing, 2 levels of pressure behind him, turning the ball over in their half constantly. So I think that we really held them or pinned them back in that regard in a way that we haven't done to a lot of teams this season. And then the other thing, and I have a supporting stat here, but I think we played centrally a lot more than we did for the rest of the season. This chart is almost impossible to read. It's from USL Analytics, which is a great Blue Sky account that posts a lot of really cool data that we can't get elsewhere. And they have the final third broken into 3 thirds, the left, the center, and the right. And this shows that we had 20% of our passes entering the final third came through the middle, and 27% of our passes into the box were into the center of the box, compared to 19% and 12% for Charleston. So we played more centrally than they did. I don't have this relative to our averages for the rest of the season, but every time that I checked, and I checked them after almost every game, we were getting dominated in the middle. The other team was playing so much more centrally than us. This is one of the first times I can remember seeing over 20% of our passes both into the final third and into the box coming in the middle, and outplaying through the center our opponent. And in this case, it was a great offensive opponent. So I was really impressed with that as well.
Yeah, if I can add, I think that it makes sense for us to try to do. I know you said we haven't done it much this year, being as central, but especially not having like a right winger, really. Like, love Amos, he's been playing out there, but he's obviously not like a winger. Yeah, I'll bring Atkinson on, maybe he can get wide out there. But even when we have like Frank at right wing back, he's not helping the touchline or anything. So we're definitely a team I think that's built to be more central, even with Noah on the other side too, right? Like tucking in. So good to see that we played that way, and hopefully we can kind of continue that, moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, to be really honest, I think it's the second year in a row. It's like a similar storyline where, you saw on Reddit and stuff, like immediately people are like, "Oh, Rhode Island FC, they're playing dirty, they're blah, blah, blah." And I didn't get to say it last year, but Charleston again brought a knife to a bazooka fight. They did not match the intensity of the playoffs. They did not match the physicality of the playoffs. And I think it really was the physicality and in our compactness that I think really won this one for us. And just to show the job that we did yesterday, I just want to make sure it's like very clear how much of an anomaly yesterday was compared to Charleston. So Charleston for the season, they averaged 1.98 expected goals for per match. They only had 0.83 yesterday. Normally they average 59% possession. They had 52 yesterday. They do normally, shots I don't think I actually updated. Sorry about that. They had 15. I don't know what they did for the season. They normally create 3.16 big chances per match. They had 0 yesterday. Normally they're at 86% pass accuracy. They're only at 80. And passes in their own half. Yesterday, they were pinned to 64% of passes in their own half, normally around 60. So, again, I just think we really made it difficult for them to play. And, besides a couple half chances and, especially that one big Cal Jennings chance, you can't really think of many that Charleston caused us a ton of problems. So, again, fantastic game plan from Kano, from the team, and have to shut out, like, it's obviously do or die. It's that one game and it could be over. And I think we've seen time and time again that this team can come up with a game plan to win the game on their day. Obviously doesn't excuse the games that we did not play as well in throughout the season, and that is a topic for another day. So quickly just wanted to call out some performances that we've talked about before we do get into the socials. And again, if you are still here, please smash that like button. So first up, I think you just mentioned him, Matt Hands, but Krifa Yao, I really thought was truly fantastic yesterday. He had 15 defensive contributions, which was first in the match, 3 block shots, which was first, 7 clearances, which was first. He won 6 out of 10 of his duels, tied for 8th, and he had 83% passing. So there was a couple of huge moments where he just made some massive blocks and clearances in the box. And I just think it was, you see why this guy was Defender of the Year. So to me, any extra thoughts on Krifa Yao?
No, I mean, this is like an average Krifa Yao stat line. He does this every single game. I never want to take it for granted. He's such an important part of our defense. Something he added to his game last night, I thought, and we were all laughing about it, was more than once he was pressing up into the Charleston half of the field, like way, way up. And I feel like all of us were like, yes, I love this, but also like, wait, also go back. What are you doing? And he helped to turn the ball over multiple times in their half. It was amazing. So yeah, great defensive performance.
Awesome. Hands, any other words for Krifa?
No, just what you guys were saying. I guess that passing jumps out there, 83%. He's not always, I'm sure a lot of those probably like simple, shorter passes, but even so, like, I think going back to last year, he wasn't as good on the ball. I think he's improved that, which even helps his game even more. We all know how much of a good defensive player he is. You can see there with all those, first for those first 3 stats. So, Yeah, awesome player. And like Timmy said, don't want to take it for granted. Like, yeah, I feel like sometimes we do. Sometimes I do, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But he is so solid out there.
Absolutely. And we just touched on him, but Hugo Baccarat, like absolutely fantastic game.
Yeah.
He won 12 out of 25 duels. So he both won the most and lost the most, which just shows how like active he was in this one. It wasn't even close who the next person was. He had 2 chances created, which was tied for 3rd. He had 8 defensive contributions, tied for 5th. He had 3 shots, which was 2nd in the match. 12 passes into the final third, which was tied for 5th, and 3 successful dribbles, which was tied for 1st. A completely all-around game. And again, I think as this game wore on, I think he really grew into it and really started to dominate it, especially when it went to 10v10. And, also like for a very large human being to play the full 120 and then go take a penalty, absolutely massive performance from Hugo, a player who I think we were all very excited about the prospect of him to start the year. Obviously, he starts the year with an injury that kept him out for a while, but he has really grown and blossomed to this team. And I think he's one of those kind of not secret, but like, we've talked a lot about JJ and Noah, especially propelling this team forward. I think he has been just as much a part of that renaissance towards the end of this year. But hands any more for Pau Torres, his friend.
No, that really, other than just, I see he got those, 12 passes in the final third. His passing is solid, but I think obviously for us, I think it's his ball carrying, those successful dribbles that we see there. Like his ball carrying is so important for us in the midfield. And like we saw him do it all the way going back to, I first remember it in the Hartford draw, regular season game at home where he was, moved up to midfield for like 10, 12 minutes or so, but he was taking guys on and blowing by guys, and he clearly showed he could do that. And I think that's what really stands out to me. Obviously solid defensively, but his ability to kind of break the lines through his dribbling, get around guys, really helps us get the ball forward when we're not just playing the ball long, to a JJ. So that's kind of what stands out for me.
Yeah, Timmy?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was much more creative and better at progressing the ball than I've seen even in other games. Always with the dribbling, like Matt Hans said, but I thought his passing was really solid as well. But the stat that jumped out to me, and you already mentioned it, I put it in the player ratings as well, which I know you try not to read before doing this, but if there's not a stat that tells you how stuck in and involved someone is more than winning and losing the most duels in the game, like that's an incredible stat and just shows like there was nothing going through the midfield and elsewhere that he wasn't at least involved in.
Very well said. And the final one here, Hamani Diop. I wasn't in love with his first, start with Royal FC. I think we mentioned it on the show, but he has been absolutely fantastic, kind of ever since. And even on that night, after rewatching, I think he was better than I remember. 112 touches on the night. He was tied for first with Aaron Malloy, which really shows you how involved he is. Again, everything Charleston goes through Aaron Malloy, and he's the player in the league who every year has averaged the most touches, and Diop was right up there with him. He won 8 out of 14 duels, which is tied for 5th. 8 defensive contributions, which is tied for 5th. 1 chance created, tied 6th. 64 out of 80 passing, which was 4th. And he had 20 passes into the final third, which was 1st by a long shot. He was both, on the ball a lot, but also progressing the ball a ton. I thought especially in that first half, he had great link up with both Noah and Haribo down that left touch line. And, it was really fantastic and incredibly clean on the ball, and someone who came in late this season and has really been like a mainstay ever since, and long may it continue. But Timmy, what do you think about Diop's performance?
I thought he was incredible yesterday. Deserved man of the match. I know you said he was tied with other people in FootMob and you picked him. This would have been my pick.
I have to say he was actually tied, I think, with Koke, and it's Koke's had such a phenomenal season. Honestly, a shame I didn't make a special slide for him, but at this point, a typical Koke game, which is crazy.
Right. Diop too. He was also fouled the most times of any player, which a lot of times I think he used his body really well to shield the ball when we were in kind of a threatened position by Charleston to relieve the pressure, which we'll take that any day from any player. And I was just really impressed with his composure on the ball. Like, he's very willing to hold on to it just like a second longer than you want your center back to hold it, to draw in the defense. But he did lose it a few times, to be fair. But I thought more often than not, he rarely just makes the lazy lateral pass. Like, he really looks for a hard driven pass that's going to break a line or two. He had a few that he pinged in right to JJ across two lines of Charleston players. So the defense, I never really had a doubt, but I've been really impressed with him on the ball and his passing as well, which feels like we've said that about so many. We've said it about Hugo, we said it about Mabiko when he came in. So this is just the latest addition to that, and we're building like a really nice roster of new players this year who I'm really excited to watch next season as well.
Yeah, what do you think, Hans?
Yeah, pretty much agree. I agree with you, Ryan, about like his first game with us. I think he only played the first half of that game. Not sure if it was by design for minutes or if it was just because he didn't have a good game. But after that, he's been great. And for someone who signed, I think I looked at it, I think it was September 9th. It was definitely early September.
It was like the day that you were allowed to add somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it was announced on the 9th anyway. But someone that signed that late, for him to kind of come into the team and quickly adapt and quickly become this important to us is awesome. It's great to see. And I say this all the time, but he wasn't the number one pick in MLS draft for no reason. Like, the guy's really talented. I think he played at Clemson, so maybe it's not that close to Charleston, but it's same state at least. So maybe some good feeling for him going down to South Carolina again. But he's been awesome. He's really the left-footed center back that we need. We had Dugan last year. Of course, went back to Minnesota from being on loan with us. We need a left-footed center back, and looks like we found him, and hope he stays again a long time. Don't leave.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, we will get to your socials and we'll do a quick preview of North Carolina here, but we'll start on Twitter. We have our pal Tyler Hatch here with RIFC in 3. What a weekend. Good clean sheet against Leeds. Best offensive unit that had 2 players combined to score more goals alone than Rhode Island FC. His better, watching Siaha embarrass himself in Hartford shootout loss. Best, this team looks prime for another deep playoff run. Thank you, Tyler. We go over to Instagram here. We have Ben Grimes 14 with RIFC in 3, the crowd at the Guild, Irvin and the 116 crew at the game, and of course, advancing to the next round. We got Terrace with his RIFC in 3. We won. In one word, he said a shootout. So nicely done, Terrace. We got Sibs Rule here with RIFC in 3. Believe in RIFC and RFC. Nicely done. All right. So we move over to Facebook here. We have Scott Morrison. Not an RFC in 3, but how about a WTF moment as the live stream switched over to a replay of the Carabao Cup game? I don't know. This didn't happen with us, or at least I didn't notice it, but I did hear a lot of people complaining about that. So just a classic Tuesday for the USL. We got good finding the game on the radio, better finding the live stream in time for penalty kicks, best the heart, the defense, and Coque Vegas. Nicely done, Scott. We have also an RFC Nation. We got Don Lindbergh here. Defense, Coque, penalty kicks. Rhode Island FC made penalty kicks. His other RIFC in 3. Happy I went. Oh, sorry. So his good was defense, better, Coque, best, penalty kicks. RFC made them. Nicely done, Don. We got Joe Burns, RFC in 3. Great road win. His other one, fuck Hartford Athletic. And then this is a shocker from Joe Burns. His bad, horrid, even worse, bloody Elton Garcia. I've never heard Joe Burns criticize the ref. That's incredible. His other bad, horrid, even worse was the Guild's chairs. So unbelievable. And
by the way, to interrupt really quick, their coach, Ben Pierman, said that Garcia was the best ref in the league, for what it's worth.
So I actually think besides the Quizera thing, it was fine. Like, good performance. I didn't even think once about him until that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I agree.
And then to close it off on Facebook, we got Dawn Poole with she bleeps it. I'm not going to bleep it. Holy fucking shit. So thank you all on Facebook. So now we'll get to the Tide Talk Discord, which I've been dreading trying to read through because it's an absolute disaster in there. Thank you everyone who does comment throughout the day on these games. It just is fun to try to sift through. But we will start with our friend Leo O. His good all-around fight and hustle from the squad. Amos perfectly exemplified it, taking a long ball off the chest in close quarters. Man, when he did that, I was like, not again, not Amos again. Like, leave the guy alone. But taking a long ball off the chest in close quarters and popping up despite the pain to get back into defensive position. Leo's better. Koke's massive saves and interventions to shut down the few instances the back line truly got beat. In his best, penalties followed the vibe of the run of play and put us through. His RIFC in 3, battery not rechargeable. Nicely done. We got Andrew Gomes here with good shoving it in Cal Anakin Skywalker Jennings' face and his singular braid. It's hilarious. I don't have animosity against the Padawan, but fair. His better Hugo built like a Chevy Baccarat. Diop, Yao, and Vegas building a fortress of a back line. We have his best shaking the penalty shootout monkey off the back to advance in the playoffs. He has a couple RFC in 3s. His first one, fuck you, Siaha. His RFC in 3 part 2 is fuck you, Anakin. And RFC in 3 part 3 is on to the next. Again, I don't hate the Padawan that much. We got Scott here from Wales with good, better, best, his RFC in 3. Amos keeps achieving. Scott, let me know if I did that justice. We got Chelsea J here with in 3 those penalty kicks. We got Nate Ski. Champs are here. And reminder that the Riptide report and player ratings are live from these two fellows. Make sure you read those. Here we go. Let's see if I can find out. There's more in here. We got Chad M with good. The attack looks legit. Better. They play better when they're mad. Best. On to the next round. His in 3. Again, I'm not going to bleep it. Let's fucking go. Boy. We got Timmy's player ratings. Again, I just shouted those out. I know we had a couple more. Terrace, we got RFC in 3. What a game. Good, we looked engaged. Better, we looked like we could score, even though we didn't. And best, we fucking won. Love that, Terrace. And I totally agree. The engaged part, I think, was the real highlight of the night. The boys looked locked in. We got our final ones here. We got Timmy with his RIFC in 3. Made us proud. His good, attacking and building up through the middle. Better, holding the league's best offense. Scoreless over 120 minutes. His best, 5 out of 5 on penalties. Thank you, Timmy. We got Matt Jean with his RIFC in 3 home playoff game. I know Matt Jean has been really pounding that drum for a while now, so we'll see. So we got a long way to go there.
He just wants those pretzels.
He does. I mean, who doesn't?
The path is there. The path is very much there. I'm not.
We're not going there. We'll talk about what's the path in a second. But the final one here, we got Matt Jean with his good. My health plan for the almost heart attacks the PKs gave me. His better, the best team in the East is a 7 seed no one was ready for. And his best, again, close to 4,000 in donations and hundreds of cans goods delivered. We will be collecting more this weekend. So if you are going to the guild, make sure you bring some non-perishable items. Or again, in the episode description on YouTube, there is a link to the Defiance food drive, or there are any of their social media. Please go check that out. Again, raised almost $4,000 in a very big time in need. So please, I am not going to let this slide. Matt Hands also did just add a RIFC in 3 executed order 66, which I'm sure Andrew Gomes is absolutely loving out there. But as always, thank you so much for everybody who chimed in on any of the socials. And please, if you want to, have your stuff read, follow Tide Talk on anywhere Tide Talk RI on anywhere you get your social media. I've been told we now have a Threads and a TikTok and all sorts of stuff. So check us out. And write in after games. We absolutely love it. Probably the best part here. But now we will switch gears really quickly. And if you do have a score prediction for North Carolina, get that in the chat here. But we are playing North Carolina in the semifinals down in Cary. We know there's a massive traveling support going. I think you two fellows are locked in and confirmed, which I love. I am still in the strategizing mode on my end, so we'll see if I make it down or not. But excited for this one. But Hans, I know you're always on top of the latest and greatest in the USL. How are you feeling about this one?
About the game, I think it'll be a close one again. I think there's a tendency to look at North Carolina and say like, oh, Charleston is way better than them, and we beat Charleston. But I think it has to do with the particular matchup. We might need to be we probably will need to be on the front foot more, even if we're playing on the road. I think we'll still need to be on the front foot a little bit more. North Carolina is very organized. So yeah, not going to be easy. But like Timmy said, there is a path for us to host the game if we win, and if
we're talking North Carolina here. We're not talking paths. We're talking North Carolina.
Yeah.
One game at a time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because I'm definitely with you, because I think that it's not going to be straightforward, and I think that Kano, the players know that. Kano knows that. He's going to make sure the players know that. Leaders in the locker room, especially Koke, you got to think is going to make sure the guys know that. You get a great win yesterday, but doesn't mean a whole lot if you go out and lose this coming weekend. So that's pretty much that. And I'm going down for the game. Should be a good time. Was a challenge getting tickets for a little bit there. We were all kind of freaking out, but it worked out in the end. So
it was like 20 minutes. Everyone's relaxed.
Well, so real quick, I'll try to be quick. We no, so I was badgering Irvin, the president of Defiance, for a ticket link. Obviously, it wasn't on him, of course. I was just being an asshole. But we did get a ticket link, which is great. And within 24 hours, they got one to us today, and then we all went on to buy tickets, and it wouldn't accept any of our cards. I guess they didn't like payment coming from Rhode Island or something. I don't know. And the other thing was that it looks like they were selling tickets, at least initially, in our section that they're going to put us in. They were also opening those up to North Carolina fans, which I don't like. I would have liked, open it up to us first, and maybe later in the week open up those to the fans. At the end of the day, it looks like word is they might be moving those fans out of there anyway. They have enough room in that stadium. It looks like it should be a relatively nice stadium to go see. They have a good complex over there. They have soccer TST, that 7-on-7 soccer tournament they do during the summer. That's cool. It plays there. So looks like it all works out in the end. But it always aggravates me that I feel like I was giving me flashbacks, I guess, to Colorado Springs. And, we had people from their fans in our section at the final. And, I get it. It's you want your fans in there, but I also feel like they maybe don't understand how much we travel. And of course, maybe last year, it's our first year in the league, but you saw they should know how much we traveled last year, and they're going to bring people down there. And I feel like separating the section out is obviously the way to go. Not that there's going to be any issue. It's not like it's over in Europe where you're expecting, fights or anything like that, the old firms and all that stuff. But just to kind of, have a good atmosphere, and keep us separate and all that. So that's pretty much all I had to rant about there. But excited to go down to the game. Should be great. That's that.
Yeah, shout out to the Road Warriors for that. And Hands, I'm not letting you off the hook. What's your score prediction?
I'm gonna let myself off the hook. I'm not giving one right now. I'm gonna be. Yes, I'm gonna be this guy and say read the blog, because I gotta write the blog. I am also doing
professional. That's professional.
Keeping your takes for the blog. That's crazy.
Yeah,
man loves his views.
I need to get those views up, man. You got to handle. Tyler's got to handle. I got my views up there, but no, no, I'm going to do that. I also have a vlog that I'm going to do for playoff predictions for round 2. So got to get the views up on that as well. Let's see.
Quadra's just playing you off right now. So
yeah, play the music, play me off.
All right, Timmy, your preview and score prediction, please.
No, I'm holding my score prediction too. I'm gonna write a blog. I'm not giving it.
Shut up.
No, I'm. Let me say, I don't think North Carolina is good. If the team that shows up yesterday shows up to North Carolina, we will win. If the team that shows up to New Mexico shows up to North Carolina, we will lose. Pretty simple to me. But North Carolina does not impress me at all. I was looking at some of their stats while we were going through, 21st out of 24 in big chances. 20th out of 24 in accurate passes per match, 22nd out of 24 in touches in the opposition box. So I just don't think they're like a particularly threatening team. We're a really good defensive team, so I'm not super worried about them, but it does get down to the question of like, are we going to play some offense? Are we going to play like we did yesterday? So I'm going to assume that the Dr. Jekyll version of Rhode Island FC shows up, and I'm going to go 3-1.
Oof.
He's reminded me, by the way, of you, Ryan, how you feel about Indy 11. That got the same vibe of the Ryan versus Indy 11.
Figure. He didn't hit
Indy 11 deserves more respect than North Carolina. I think the North Carolina team honestly sucks, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they're okay. I give them credit for being. I think they're well coached and organized. As far as like the really big attacking talent and stuff, I don't think it's there. I mean, Alex Anderson's good. Their striker, for sure. They have some good players there, but like Maldonado, who scored against us, I think he's out. He was out for the year, I'm pretty sure. So I'd have to double check that. But yeah, we'll see.
Perfect. So one note here, if you are planning on going down traveling, there is in the Defiance Discord a group that you can like a channel that's all about away days and organizing. Great place to find out information about what the Defiance is up to. There also, as Matt Hans has alluded to, a special ticket link that you can sit in the Rhode Island FC fan section. I do know there are some fans who are planning to sit elsewhere, but that I think is the place if you want to kind of have the full experience. So be on the lookout. I think you could even DM Defiance on, I would say Instagram is probably your best bet, and they can get you that link. So the tickets are also cheaper. They're cheaper for some reason. So also another reason to make sure you reach out and get the right link for the team. But we do have
you
a
down
couple.
there. We need you, Ryan. We need you to go.
Yeah,
I got some scheming to do tonight. I'll let you know in the morning.
We also
That's how it
need
usually
your
goes.
score prediction, but we need you.
I'm getting there. So we got
okay.
first up, we got Sarah with a 1-0. We got Andrew Quadros also with 1-0. He then changed it based on Timmy's research with 1-0 own goal, which is the easiest score prediction ever. Absolutely love that. I'm going 2-0 on this one. I also, for all the reasons Timmy said, I think our defense is great. I think we are going to bring a level of focus and intensity that is not the New Mexico game. I think that game, if you go back and listen to our episode, that was just tomfoolery all around, starting with that 8-minute, nonsense to start the match. So again, ridiculous. But yeah, I think we can do it. Again, I will say what I probably say every single round, like anything can happen. And soccer is a very weird sport in a knockout manner. So we absolutely shall see. But again, if the team that we saw in Charleston shows up with that level of intensity, that level of focus, they're going to be extremely hard out in any round. And I do think, while North Carolina is the 3 seed, I think, kind of from 3 to 8 or 9 in the league was a little tighter in the East. So I think it's one of those ones where at this point, anyone can beat anybody. And, I'm going to take Rhode Island there. Shout out to Chris P, who offered me a place on his lap on the plane. I appreciate that. I will consider that as we look into it. But that will wrap things up. I mean, Timmy, Hans, anything that you wanted to make sure you got in there?
My big one was we need you. We need you in North Carolina. We need you bad. I wanted to pressure you on air so that everyone else can join in. We need you so bad.
That's how it goes normally. Like I feel like even like last year in the playoffs, like a couple of us like from Tide Talk and a couple of us, in our like knit Tide Talk group, a couple of us would go immediately like, yeah, we're going, and the rest of us like, maybe, and then like it gets later in the week and then we find out we're going. I mean that's how I ended up traveling for the the 3 playoff games last year.
Well, you almost were kidnapped in a way, so that's a whole nother situation. But yeah, you just love sitting in Dodge Chargers for hours on end. It's,
yeah, doing it again. Getting up super early Saturday morning, like 3 o'clock, and getting out.
No one loves a car more than you guys. But Well, let's put a pin in that. And that'll wrap things up for this one. Just a reminder that Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. As I mentioned, I think we also have a TikTok. We have Threads. I think there's a Blue Sky out there. So follow us wherever you want to get your info. Also, as I said, we have to shout out the blog with the bloggers on here tonight, with Timmy and Hans doing double duty. A lot of great content on tidetalkri.com. So please check that out. I've been your host, Ryan, and a big thank you to Timmy and Hans for joining me tonight. And most importantly, thank you to everyone who joined in live and anyone who supports the work that we do. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.